Carmen. I'm the owner of FASTSIGNS of Daytona Beach. And I have with me Michael, DeLaine, and Melissa Hoskins from Heroes Hope Network, my good friends, and Holly Hill, what would I say? Holly Hill, community service, service people, community partners. I feel like you guys are all over the place right now.
We consider ourselves a hub.
A hub. How are you guys doing today?
Amazing.
Have you had a chance to rest?
No.
What's that?
What's that? In a way, I kind of like that answer. What's that?
Mm-hmm.
So I met Michael and Melissa. I got a friend request one day, and I had all these little positive messages on all my little posts. And one day they were in the office, placed an order for business cards. I walked up front. We talked a little bit, and I thought that was it. And then I saw you guys at a Holly Hill Chamber of Commerce meeting because we're both members of the Holly Hill Chamber of Commerce. And then I posted something about the domestic violence shelter during this quarantine. And then you guys came and brought us meals, and then also brought us tons of supplies. And then the Holly Hill School didn't get picked as one of the Volusia County schools to serve lunches, and you guys serve lunches. And since then they've been picked, but you guys have continued a big effort. So, and that's a lot to say, not all in the right order, but but it's been exciting to see what you guys are doing here and how quickly you guys are just, splashing a wave in the Volusia County area. So tell me a little bit about Heroes Hope Network. What is it?
So Heroes Hope Network, we kind of got a little tagline, although I don't quite have it down, but it's providing service or providing hope through service to those who served. So we really started out as a dinner, a monthly dinner because I'm a retired Army and a former firefighter. My wife is a former firefighter. And so we do a monthly dinner for first responders, law enforcement, and military, active and veterans. So that's really how we started in this area. We moved here several years ago, but moved to Holly Hill a year ago. And we just, that was what we did. Once a month, we had a dinner, we hung out with friends and enjoyed ourselves. And then I ended up with a radio show on a local radio station that's also here in Holly Hill.
WAPN 5.1.
Yes. Kelly, as a matter of fact. So I went from once a month having this dinner with veterans, first responders, law enforcement, to doing a radio show that focused on veterans, law enforcement, first responders, and PTSD. And so we really, when we first moved here, we thought it was very cool that we lived in Daytona Beach. And so everything was, even though we're in Holly Hill, it was like we were in Daytona Beach, the world's most famous beach.
Everybody knows Daytona Beach.
And then we got, we got to really, and I'll tell you, God really started working on my heart after being here a year. It's like, you don't really live in Daytona Beach and you ask for community and you have a community right here and you live in Holly Hill. And so you really need to start reaching out to the people of Holly Hill. And this is before COVID. This is before the coronavirus and everything. You really need to be involved with Holly Hill businesses, Holly Hill residents, chamber, community, government,
support local,
whatever it was. He was really moving on us to support local. And so I'm going to do that. And so Heroes Hope Network grew into this radio show, and we started doing some mentoring with veterans that were court involved. And so we decided we were going to, start. We needed cards to hand out, and so we said, okay, we're gonna find somebody local. And I researched online, and I found you. And so I liked your Facebook page, and I friend requested you because, if she's Holly Hill, then we're going to do business with her. We didn't know you. We'd never met you. And then we found out you're like literally, I could throw a rock from my front door and hit your office.
I can walk to your house for lunch.
Yeah.
If we were here.
Yeah. If we were ever home for lunch. But no, so we friend requested you, and I think it was maybe 24 hours, 48 hours later, we walked into the office and we met Ashley. smiling at the front desk. And I thought at first, I'm like, are you Carmen? Because your guys' Facebook pictures kind of resemble each other. And she's like, oh, no, that's Carmen in there. And that's when you came out and we met you and we placed our order.
Yeah. And they're really cool cards, actually.
They're really cool.
So,
like,
oh man,
you guys,
they're like right here.
Knocked it out of the park.
Grab me a card. I got to show everybody.
Yeah, you guys.
If I remember correctly, they were like flat cards, and then it has like the flag part of it is like a glaze on top.
The feel on it is like velvet.
So I drew. I'm going backwards. Here we go. So I drew the logo out, and then a veteran took my concept. He's a graphic artist. He took my concept and built it, and then we brought that to you, and you guys, and I can't take any credit other than the stick figure that I drew in the beginning. Between you guys and my wife, you designed the most amazing cards, and we get so many compliments every time we hand this card to people. It's almost creepy the look they get on their face when they smile and rub the card. Yeah, it's amazing. Cool. You guys did an amazing job, and since then we've come in and we've ordered more cards, and
and it's gone beyond that because we officially met at a Holly Hill Chamber of Commerce. I would say got to know each other. Yeah. I walked into a Chamber of Commerce after hours. Yeah. Ashley sitting with you guys because I think she's in love with you guys. She just thinks you guys are like the nicest people ever. So I went and sat down and we chit-chatted for a little while, and then COVID-19 happened, right? Yeah. So COVID-19 happens in Holly Hill, this very small municipality, does not get selected as one of the Volusia County schools that were going to serve lunch. Yeah. And the real issue with that is that Holly Hill is low poverty area for the most part.
Yeah, 96% free or reduced price lunch. That's what our schools do. 96% of the kids rely on a free or reduced price lunch.
So you guys, did you guys team up with Hunger Fest?
No. So what happened is, so when I was a kid, so my parents divorced at 10 years old. I had the Leave It to Beaver lifestyle up until I was 10. I mean, Dad went to work, came home. I was a daddy's boy. Mom stayed home, took care of us. And at about 10 years old, I don't know what happened. I still to this day don't know what happened, other than I know my mother, she had some issues. And she's gone now, God rest her soul. But she kept us away from our dad. And I was a daddy's boy, and so I rebelled. And so that first year was probably very crazy for her. And by 11, I found myself on the streets. And so the only meals that I would get is if I showed up at school and got a free or reduced price because that's what we had. And remember the times that I wasn't in school and how hungry I was. And it broke my heart when I heard the children here weren't going to have that lunch. And so I'm retired Army. I get a VA disability. I have a very small stipend that I get every month. It's way better than most people have, so I'm not complaining. But it's enough to cover our bills and leave us a little bit left over every month. And so we took that little bit of seed money that left over, less than $200, and decided to go out and buy as much food as we could to try to find as many kids as we could to feed. We ended up shopping because my wife is amazing at finding deals. We ended up with that little bit of money finding enough food that we could feed about 210 people, 210 kids. Yep. And that's including Ziploc bags and paper bags. I mean, it's the whole 9 yards. Peanut butter jelly, juice, fruit cup. I mean,
bread.
Bread, everything for less than the $200. And the first day, we remember getting our first phone call to one child, and by the end of the day, we were up to 5 kids. So our first official service day, we had 5, and we did that just by social media. We blasted it out on Facebook. So if you'd have asked me 3 months ago if I was going to be feeding kids, the guy here that hates peanut butter, by the way, I cannot stand peanut butter. So if you'd asked me 3 months ago if I was going to be feeding not just kids in Volusia County, but kids in Holly Hill, but kids Volusia County wide, peanut butter and jelly lunches, I'd have laughed at you. But that's really how it started. And then Hunger Fights came they saw our post and what we were doing.
They came down like
and
the third day.
The third day, they showed up in our driveway. They called up and were like, "We got a pallet of food for you." And I'm like,
pallet?
I don't even have a pallet jack. How am I going to do that? So we hand offloaded an entire pallet of Hunger Fights out of the van when they got here into my garage.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mind you, we're a one-car garage.
Yeah.
We don't live in a big house.
Yeah, we live in 800 square feet. I mean, it's just the two of us and our little Yorkie. We don't require a lot of room. So yeah, our house for a while there was a little. And if you know me and my OCD, I don't like clutter. I'm not a clutter guy. So there's a while there I was like,
and then I walked into the house where it's had like food stacked everywhere, ready to make sandwiches. And that was
like every time we turned around, somebody was at the door bringing donations. It was amazing.
It was awesome, I bet. And then I post that the domestic violence shelter, who is our FASTSIGNS Cares project, we kind of had a moment where we said, oh my gosh, there's going to be an influx before they shut people down of the domestic violence shelter. We need food and supplies. Yep. And the first person to respond, of course, is you guys. Absolutely no problem. Y'all met me there on a Saturday and filled up my showroom with stuff.
You want to see something funny? You should have seen me shopping for diapers amongst all of this COVID crisis chaos
in a Walmart.
Which I don't go into Walmart.
Not like Walmart.
I am anti-Walmart. To me, Walmart is the Antichrist. It is so cool. I'm a very community-focused guy, and so to me, like Walmart, Home Depot, the big box stores, they're responsible for shutting down so many mom and pop stores, which has got us, I believe, in the epidemic that we have right now with everything. I mean, and that's why I'm so community, and so I want to go into, like, I love my Ace Hardware. Madden's is the bomb.
Yeah.
I love Daytona FASTSIGNS. I love 6th Street Market. I mean, I love Simply Gina's. I don't go into McDonald's, and I know they're owned by franchisees, but I don't go to McDonald's. I go to local mom and pop places. People I have
small business owner locally. I appreciate that.
And I don't mind spending the extra money. I know it costs me a little bit better, but I guarantee you, I would have not found this on I won't say their name, but the online competitor for free, right? I would not have got this. There's no way.
I'm not worried about them.
No, I would have not got this. So it's worth a couple of extra bucks.
Yes.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, the customer service that you get face to face and working with people in your community, you can't beat that. Yeah. So we're the same. I
didn't mean to turn us into a commercial.
No.
I figured branding up. Why not, right?
So then you guys fill up my showroom with stuff for the domestic violence shelter. And then I get another call. Hey, how many children do they have at the domestic violence shelter? We want to feed them weekly.
Yep.
So, and I thought weekly, I thought once a week, and it's turned into, is it 4 weeks now?
We've been doing this for 6 weeks.
We've been doing this for 6, but I think it's been 5 weeks with the shelter.
That's about 5 weeks with the shelter, probably.
Yeah. This is actually week 7 we're going into.
Yep.
So 5 weeks where you guys either drop off or we drop off lunches for the children at the domestic violence shelter every single weekday.
Yep.
Which for me, because that is our obviously our nonprofit of the year. It is it's a cause dear to my heart, and I know the struggles that they have. I thank you guys so much for doing that, because really that came from you guys. It wasn't even, I mean, you guys were like, hey, we know they've got kids there. We know they need help. We know that they were expecting to have kids there every single day outside of school. We want to feed them. So now it's not just the domestic violence shelter. How many meals are you providing? Let's say this week. Do you know how many meals you provided this week?
Well, last week, 1,065 went out. Before that was 1,189. And this week we're on track for over 1,000 again. We're looking at closer to 1,100 this week. We're doing 200 lunches a day, and then we have a couple places that get lunches only on certain days, like
Tuesdays
and Saturdays. They get lunches, so if they need them. On Saturdays, if they need them, it's $150.
And this all starts with a $200 donation that you guys made into the organization.
Yeah. It wasn't even, I mean, we just did it just because. It wasn't even into the organization.
Yeah, it wasn't even an organization at the time. It was just a cool radio show.
Yeah.
And I wanted to mentor, I guess I should say cool radio show because that doesn't sound very humble. But, but it was just a radio show at the time. And I started mentoring veterans through the Veterans Court. And I needed cards to hand out. So we weren't even an organization at that time. It was, it was just... Yeah. We just went with our checkbook and shopped.
And right here from I'll say my backyard because it really is my backyard.
Yeah.
Right from my backyard in Holly Hill, which so often because it's such a small municipality and it just kind of gets overlooked. Like nobody's really paying attention to what's happening in Holly Hill, but I mean, there's a lot of really great things happening here.
Yeah. There's a lot of great things happening. This is an amazing little community.
It is something that I shared with you before we started this is one thing that I really want to throw out there is because what I've heard and what I've seen in my ventures through Holly Hill and meeting people over the past year is, we're the little tiny sneeze in between Daytona and Ormond that everybody forgets about. We're just like 8 square miles, maybe, if that. And we get forgot about, just like the school lunches at our school. And if everybody in Volusia County, which is the county Holly Hill's in, and Daytona Beach and Ormond Beach is in, if everybody really realized that this little tiny sneeze that everybody forgets about is responsible for feeding 5,000, almost 5,000
lunches
children
in
the last few weeks. And that's not counting also our community came together and hosted a huge food drop last Thursday. And and let's see what else. It's amazing. We've had lunches going out.
The Easter baskets that we did.
Abaco windows, Crystal and Cuba throwing together some amazing Easter baskets and letting us help with that.
We had donations come from all over.
And they went all over, and they spent nearly 8 hours that day driving around with their truck and trailer, going door to door with us and blessing people with these baskets. That was 52
all the
baskets.
Houses that we currently service, that we were currently servicing at that time with lunches for the kids. We went to every single house and dropped off blessing boxes for them.
Breakfasts. It's just amazing how this little community's come together. And it really is. It's the entire community. I mean, Melissa and I get a lot of credit for this because our faces are kind of out there. But really, I mean, all we did is step into a gap that we saw, that we felt led by God to fill a gap. But that was, I mean, it may be $150, $175. There's no way that fed all of these kids. That was just a step in faith. This community really stepped up when they saw it. They wanted to be a part of it. And, they could really cut back and go, well, we only want to feed Holly Hill because we're the ones that get forgot about. Not one person has ever said that. They've said, you're feeding the kids. That's amazing. What can we do?
It's amazing.
Not one person has ever complained. Not one person has ever said anything disparaging about the fact that it's going all over Volusia County. They're excited about it and they want to do more.
Well, praise God that you guys were obedient on, that you were obedient on that. So, and I feel honored to be able to have seen it because it's not every day that you get to see something happen like that through the steps. It's just, and it's happened so quickly, like you said, guys.
Very fast.
But see, you're being humble too because you're one of the businesses that stepped up, and so we're going to throw that out there too. Because you were one of our first Hunger Fights drops that said kids can come pick up food at your business even when everybody else is running and shutting their doors. You said we will make sure the kids get this food. And so you get kudos there too for being amazing. And that you've picked boxes up and taken your time to go deliver lunches to those
Ashley
kids.
And Mary
and Ashley and Mary,
well.
So yeah, it's great being humble, but we love you for your part too.
Well, I challenge business owners every single day, that my heart is community service. And the reason why I love our brand, well, number one, this is the first time that I'm in an owner's position, but I was in a employee position for so long with FASTSIGNS. And FASTSIGNS really allowed me to pour back into the community that I was in. So when I came here and we opened this store, it was very important that we got plugged into the community here. And it's taken us a little while just trying to grow the business. So, going into year 3, we were finally like, okay, we have a FASTSIGNS project. And then all these other things kind of started to happen. And we've made some amazing connections with people that are in the not-for-profit world that are impacting our community in a great way. So how do you not? So I challenge business owners every single day, especially in the Holly Hill area where there's so much need. Volusia County has a lot of need. Get involved with those nonprofits.
Yeah.
Even if you think it's a little bit of a difference and you're like, you know what, I can only do this little, and this little, and that little all together is just, it's explosive and it's impactful, and our community definitely needs it. So tell me a little bit about the food drive that was done at City Hall.
First, I want to say, I want to touch base on what you say, this little. I just want people to get an idea of what this little can do, because I hear it all the time. Somebody will walk in with a loaf of bread and tell me, I know that it's just a little, or a couple of jars of peanut butter and a jelly. And I know it's not very much, but that little has partnered with that little, and every day consistently for the past almost 7 weeks now, it has fed every child that has called us. Not one child has been turned away, and we continue to do that. Now we're at 200 children a day. So your little bit, I figured out the cost average. The cost average is about $1.28 per lunch, and that's everything. That's the bags, the Ziplocs, everything. So everybody's little has come together to provide nearly $400 a day for the past 7 weeks. So never count or discount the widow's mite.
You're right.
Right, the widow's mite is greater than the wealthiest man's, donation. So it's kept these kids fed that little bit. So back to your question, the food drop. So that again, we can't take credit for that, although we got a lot of credit for it. We did partner with Daytona Dream Center. Amy and Tanisha have been amazing. We met them also through delivering. So thank you, Hunger Fights, because you opened so many doors with us being able to distribute, find partners to distribute us food. Because at the same time we dropped food to you, we dropped food to Jamie and Tanisha at Daytona Dream Center, Calvary Christian Church. And they reach into Holly Hill to do food drives, and so we were able to put food onto their truck so they can come into Holly Hill and deliver the Hunger Fights with us and help us get it out there. And so anyway, through that relationship, we started. They wanted to get a food drop because they're a partner with Second Harvest. And they've been wanting to do a food drop. They did one, I guess, last year at Holly Hill School, but they've been trying to find a location, and they couldn't do it at Holly Hill School this year because of the lunch program. So they were looking for a location, and they asked me if I could find one. And so I actually reached out to Mayor Villa and said, I got great news. I texted him. He's been amazing. He gave me his cell phone number, and anything I need, just contact him. He's an amazing man. I love Chris Villa. Very humble, very down to earth, very community driven. I can't say enough good about the man. He has been open from day one. And so anyway, I texted him and I said, I got some amazing news and I think it's great for the community. Can you call me as soon as possible? And I know he's very busy in these times. I mean, I can't imagine being a community leader in these times.
Right.
So he did get back to me the next day, and he apologized profusely for not being able to call me that day, which he didn't need to. But he says, so what's going on? And I told him, I said, Calvary Christian Center, Daytona Dream Center's got a truck from Second Harvest. They want to do a food drop right here in Holly Hill. I think this is amazing for our people that couldn't get to the last one. And he said, I love it. Let me check into it and see if we can do it. He reached out, to Joe Forte, who's the city manager. Joe's got a really difficult job as the city manager. His job is to make sure, first off, that there's nothing litigious that goes on. Nobody gets sued. And to make sure it doesn't cost the city any money, because especially in these cities, there's not a lot of money. And so, he had to ask a lot of hard questions. But when all of his questions are answered, he reached out. I connected him with Jamie and Tanisha. And they got to meet. I wasn't part of that meeting. I was doing lunch stuff. They got to meet and walk through it, and he saw the benefit to it, and he said it's going to happen. And so they opened City Hall last Thursday. We had less than 36 hours notice and pulled it all off, including the 50 plus volunteers that needed to come in and help.
And I followed that on Facebook. I mean, it was jamming. I mean, people were definitely in need, and it's a time where it's hard to get into stores. It's hard to find the things that you need and even be able to afford them. So everything was given away. Right?
Everything was free, and it wasn't just like throwaway food. Like
there was
sometimes you go to a food bank and it's out of date or anything like that. I mean, we're talking eggs and fresh milk and
bags of
potatoes. I mean, good quality
5-pound bags of chicken, like fajita chicken.
Yeah, good groceries. Yeah, it wasn't just a food bank; it was grocery. I mean, you got a bag of groceries when you came through, and they didn't have to get out of their cars. All they had to do is pop their trunk, and we just dropped it into their trunk. All the volunteers. I can't say we. I flagged traffic and a cone. I didn't touch anybody's groceries. I stood at a cone and just said, "Come on, next." but they volunteers dropped all of the groceries into the trunks, so people didn't have to get out of their vehicles. It was an amazing day.
That's an awesome thing to happen in our community. Tell me a little now. You guys moved to Holly Hill a year ago?
Yes, it was a year ago, March 15th.
But your relationship with Mayor Villa and with the chamber is new, pretty new.
Yeah, just in the past 3 months. It's about as long as our relationship with you.
Yeah.
When I decided to connect with community, I mean, that's exactly what we decided to do. I mean, I friended him on Facebook too, liked his mayor page, made comments when I see him do posts. But our relationship really, I think, solidified when I showed up at the county city or the city meeting. Where I'm from, they call it the county city building. So that's why I say the county city. But at the city hall, I showed up, they were having an emergency meeting because of COVID. And we didn't even realize it. What we really showed up for, it was the hunger fights again.
We were trying to get.
I had this idea, like this download, get the hunger fights into the police cars. They know where the hungry kids are.
Yeah.
And so I went to the police station here at City Hall, and I tried to get in. They wouldn't even take my business card because nobody wants to get sick. Everybody hiding behind glass. Yeah. And I said, well, can I talk to the chief? The chief's not here. Well, how about the deputy chief? Oh, well, he's upstairs in an emergency city meeting. And I'm like, okay. So we ran upstairs.
The emergency meeting.
We hoofed it up there, busted into the middle of the meeting, and they're all like staring at us. And I had actually messaged John Penny, our councilman, over the weekend and asked him, what about the kids? Why aren't the kids going to get fed? How can we feed the kids? So we got there, and I didn't even know there was a city meeting, and we busted in the city meeting on accident just about the time that they start talking about kids being hungry. And I'm chomping at the bit to talk to them, and they're like, whoa, slow down there, man. Wait your time. And when they did let me get up there and talk, I told them I had an answer. Let's put food in the trunks of the cars, and the police officers can have them with them. And that idea, they decided probably wasn't the best idea, but they did agree to, and this shout out to Joe Forte again, he agreed to put hunger fights meals in City Hall. If any kid was hungry and somebody called City Hall, they would make sure that food got to the kids. But that's how the relationship started with Mayor Villa and City Council.
That's awesome. And they're super nice people. I have seen them at some events. honestly, and shame on me because I was pretty well connected in Apopka. Haven't taken the time to do that here. So you guys are leading by example. I need to get in there. I need to invite him to do an interview and just talk a little bit about Holly Hill.
Nice.
From what I understand, he's an amazing man, amazing man of God.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sure that, we need to do that.
Yeah.
So you're here at Holly Hill.
And Mayor Villa donated food. I got to go to City Hall and
I remember
a bunch of food from him. He's very supportive of this endeavor, and I'm not the guy you would expect to have a relationship with a politician. Really, I'm not. I just, I'm an old grumpy Army sergeant. I really am. That's who I've been. I've been retired for 10 years now, and people have always had a hard time relating to me because I'm very direct, but they always know where they stand with me. You're making a face like, no, not you, but trust me, I am.
That is not the experience that I have had, so I can't.
But that shows progression right there, because I am a believer, and God has worked miracles in my life and made me a new person.
He has, absolutely.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit, because maybe it's a little off cuff for this, but I think there's never a bad opportunity to talk about, like, what are the things that motivate us and move us forward. But I definitely see it in you guys and what you've done, and just being obedient and just being, very Christ-like, which sometimes it's hard to find Christians that are Christ-like.
Yeah. Right.
Well, this is just
no, I have to disagree, because I see it even in the one-on-one conversations, the conversations in the warehouse, the conversations with other nonprofits, the conversations when you talk about your volunteers, when you're not on camera, when you're not on the radio, and kind of where your focus is, and it's always God-centered.
Mm-hmm.
It's always God-centered, and it's always to glorify Him, and you always lift the people around you up.
I'm a human being, so I definitely have my my human side. People see that side more often than not now, but there was a time when it was the other way, and I still have moments of utter frustration and lashing out. But I do try to work on that daily. And I was, if you'd have met me 3 years ago, you wouldn't like me. You would not have liked me. Most people did not like me. I was isolating. My heart is for veterans and law enforcement and first responders with PTSD, because I struggled gravely with that. It cost me a relationship, and it cost me a couple of children, and I was very angry and very bitter. And I didn't want anybody in my life, and I have no problem speaking my mind. There's this, and then there's this, and most people have a gate somewhere in between.
This is
mine was usually broken. Mine was always broken. Now it's usually okay working, but I had no problem telling people, get away from me, go away. I don't like you. I don't want you in my life. You have no place around me. Please don't speak. I was very rude, very, very gruff. And the military taught me that, be direct. But, that's one thing I can always say, though, is even now I can be more diplomatic about things and not offensive most of the time. But people always know where they stand with me. Nobody ever walks around going, I wonder if Mike doesn't like me. I wonder if Mike is upset with me.
No,
I don't have the energy to carry it. So I tell people if I'm upset with them. And now I can do it nicely. Before, I wasn't so nice.
That's okay. Yeah. As long as you're nice to me, it's okay. You're always nice to me. I
can't I have changed. I work really hard. I try to stay in my word. I don't do it all the time, as often as I should, but I try to stay in my word. I do try to lead by example. If I do make a mistake and hurt somebody's feelings, I'm more apt to say I'm sorry, where you would have never heard those words out of my mouth before. So now it's all right. Look at that, babies.
Candid. I'm sorry.
puppies!
Oh, you just made her life. So the conversation.
They don't come up in every conversation. I do want to say that. So there must have been something very nice about what you guys, about your dog, that they were like, I got to see what's going on. And so to get into another topic we were talking about, my dogs are emotional support dogs. They're my life. I mean, for real. And you guys met them at the center, but you just got approved for a service dog. Well, you got approved before COVID for a service dog.
Before COVID, I went and met him, and so it's through an organization called Paws and Warriors. And I have to look to her, but so two things: PTSD and traumatic brain injury, and so my short-term memory is affected. I can remember stuff when I was a kid, but I don't usually remember what I ate for breakfast. So Paws and Warriors is the organization, and I was approved. I've been trying since I got out to get a service dog, and most of the processes are so difficult that I get frustrated easily, and so I just stop the process. And Paws and Warriors actually made it very easy. I met them through a friend of ours, Carrie Sprague.
Yep.
And so anyway, I did the application and the background check and everything, and got approved. And just I think it was maybe a week before COVID, we went down and we met Jax for the first time. He's amazing.
Very sweet.
No, he's a Great Dane and Bull Mastiff mix.
The Mastodane.
So
look at her face.
Now most people, and you wouldn't know it by the way that I move, but I am. I've had 22 surgeries since 2010. 2009. I had my first one in 2009. I have a lot of metal in my body, a lot of aches and pains. And so one thing that we know is eventually it's going to affect my mobility, the ability to get up and down, things like that. So I didn't want just a dog. One of the things that drives me nuts is everybody has a service dog. They go to the shelter, they adopt a dog, they buy the Amazon service dog starter kit, and then they just run off with it. But they don't have true trained service animals, working dogs. And so I never wanted that. And it's not to say that it doesn't work for people. I'm not trying to be judgmental. I just didn't want to be that person. If I have a working dog, I want it to be a legitimate working dog that's trained. My PTSD does not give me the temperament to be a trainer. I need a trained animal. So I found an organization and an amazing dog that not only will work for my PTSD, doing things like watching my back, being there for me, doing various blocking if somebody approaches too fast, to get their attention, things like that. Not aggressively, but stopping them from getting to me too fast and startling me. But we'll also be able, when I am to the point where I need help getting up, he'll be able to brace for me. He'll be able to get my shoes for me. So he'll be a true working dog.
Absolutely. No, I agree with you. I get really annoyed when people have emotional support dogs that aren't trained, that don't sit down. And as you guys have met my animals, I mean, mine are obedient. They don't bark. They don't. I mean, they're very well behaved. So I get it.
And then they went back.
Yeah, they know that I call them my FASTSIGNS ambassadors. So they come in, they say hello, and then they know go back into the office.
I think they came out to say hello. I think they came out just to make sure you were okay. And once you were okay, they were like, okay, we can go back now.
There might be some truth to that. But it is like, even I know people that have, I know one gentleman that has a service dog that's very well behaved, but then I do know of someone who's not a vet who has a service dog, and it's all over the place. And I'm like, how did it become a service dog? Like,
you could buy the Amazon starter kit, and it's that was one of my struggles initially when I was really struggling with PTSD. They wanted me to go to these veterans groups at the VA. There's 30 guys in there, and half of them got a service dog, that's not a service dog, and they're biting and snapping at each other and barking and howling, and the guy, and there's nothing worse than when you're in a therapeutic session and all you're hearing the entire, therapeutic session is, Rover, sit down, Rover, stop, Rover, stop.
Yeah.
There's nothing therapeutic about it. It's more annoying than anything. So
yeah, for sure. As mine is laying here looking up at me like, can I come back up now?
right. Absolutely.
No, we'll leave her sitting down. So what's next? Now, when this is all said and done, COVID, social distancing is done. The kids will be back in. Will the school year will be done? Are you guys going to try and continue this into the summer?
So, yep. As you know, we are now an official Florida nonprofit, and you sit on our board of directors as our chairperson, our CEO. So.
CEO.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And so we do plan on doing this. So one thing that we've found is things like the domestic violence shelter. Those children can't come out for their safety, so we can still bring lunches to them. Yep. There are special needs kids at home. We can bring lunches to them. There are homeschooled children. We can bring lunches to them. I think a good portion of parents, once they get the hang of this homeschooling, are going to decide to continue doing it. I can tell you one thing, that we homeschooled our daughter, and she actually excelled above her grade level. When she came to live with us, she was below her grade level, and when she decided to go back to high school, she excelled above her grade level. Yeah. So I think a lot of the parents are going to find out that if they have the ability, that it's probably their children's best interest to be homeschooled. Not to say anything against teachers, because I love teachers. We saw it, our pastor actually said it this morning, this is the perfect time for teachers to ask for a pay raise.
Yeah. Because all the parents are going,
all the parents are like, But so there will be kids that are homeschooled that we can bring lunches to.
Weekends.
Weekends we talked about. Summer program we talked about. Being involved with the Boys and Girls Clubs, the YMCA, any of the organizations that would like us to. So we want to continue doing this. And then we're still going to focus on veterans, first responders. So the idea is to bring the hero population. I don't consider myself a hero, but I work with heroes every day. And it's to bring that hero population together, to get them to quit focusing on themselves and spiraling out of control and taking their own lives, and getting them involved. So the quick spiel is as we'll take veterans, for instance. When we join the military, they cut our hair, they dress us the same, they suck away our sense of self. We can't be a me anymore. We have to be a part of a team. They give us a weapon and a buddy. We go through our entire service career, however long that is, with a weapon and a buddy being part of a team. They never reintegrate us when we get out. It's just like they take our weapon, they take our buddy, and they kick us out into society. Well, that entire process, we're used to focusing on others, not ourselves. We have a chain of command that watches out for us, and we are in that chain of command watching out for those under us. And so when we get out, we lose that entire chain of command, that entire structure. We start focusing on us. Well, there is no more us. That's been stripped from us. It's brainwashing at its best. And so we really don't look at ourselves in a positive way, and we don't have a mission. And that's the other thing. We're so mission focused. So it's taking these veterans, law enforcement, first responders, whether they're PTSD sufferers or not, we don't care, because we can mentor each other. But then getting into the youth population and starting to mentor our youth. There's so many fatherless youth out there, motherless youth out there. So why not get in there and make a difference and cut it off? And so, Jesus says that, to take care of widows and orphans, right? What better service than to alleviate the whole process of a widow or an orphan? If you can step in and be a surrogate father, or a surrogate husband, or a surrogate mother, or a surrogate wife. And I don't mean that in the, we're trying to hook people up kind of a thing, but like there's widows out there that could use, or widowers that could use somebody to come in and help them with things. If my wife weren't here, I would be a sad individual because I don't know how to shop properly. I mean, I know how to cook, but I hate it. Doing my own laundry, things like that. These are all things that she does for me. And I'm not saying we're trying to get, law enforcement to go out and do people's nasty underwear or anything. But, there are certain things that we could, just showing up and checking on somebody saying, how are you doing? Is there anything you need? We're finding that in this program when we show up with a lunch and a smile consistently once a day, every day. Our volunteers do that. 30-some volunteers every day come in and help us do stuff. It just brings a smile and a sense of hope. And so that's what the goal is from here on out. Once the COVID breaks, finding missions, getting involved in communities, and I can see this nationwide. We're going to stay right here in our little Holly Hill community right now, but I would love this to be the hub for a nationwide campaign to draw the hero community into serving children.
Yeah, absolutely, and providing a purpose. So my dad was Chief Warrant Officer. He was airborne, 82nd Airborne,
Nice.
Fort Bragg. You know what I mean? So, when my dad retired, like, he didn't know what to do with himself for a little while. You know what I mean? It's like, because you go from being purposeful and very purposeful. I mean, where it's you're almost glorified in a way. You know what I mean? To now, like, having no purpose whatsoever, and family and grandchildren and all that just isn't enough, because the greater purpose is it's like first responders too. I mean, your everyday task is to save a life.
Right.
Yeah, you're constantly living on edge. I mean, even if you're not in action, just the thought that action could spark at any second, you're constantly in a fight scenario. And so it rewires the brain, the synapses. I mean, there's so many studies that go into it, and I understand it. I used to study all that, but the synapses actually rewire through the brain. And so the flight kind of goes out the window, and you're in a constant state of fight. And it changes you as an individual. You really get skewed in some ways.
So if you are an ex-military, ex-police officer, ex-firefighter, how would they get a hold of you to volunteer and to get plugged into your network?
Well, if they reach out to us on our Heroes Hope Network Facebook page, that's facebook.com/Heroes Hope Network. Make sure you spell heroes right.
Yep.
If you don't put two E's in heroes, it's a fish. HEROS is a fish. HEROES is heroes. So it's Heroes Hope Network. And then call me. So everybody got all over social media. It's 253-433-5835.
Or at heroeshopenetwork@gmail.com.
That's right.
Awesome. So you guys are still looking volunteers. You guys are still looking for community partners to help you guys with donations, with deliveries and all that other stuff. So and you guys will start to post more of what Heroes Hope Network is going to be doing. It's a relatively new nonprofit, but it's important to support you guys because you are a Holly Hill based nonprofit, and I think there's that's important that us Holly Hill businesses look at you guys and really support someone in our backyard that's doing something great.
And they really have. They've stepped up. So many Holly Hill businesses have stepped up to support us.
Yeah, they have. A lot of people have.
Awesome. Well, you guys, I really appreciate your time. I know that you guys are working crazy hours. It's just before 6. So when this call is done, promise me you'll get some rest and some quality time together. Thank you.
After I count my juice for tomorrow.
No. We appreciate all that you're doing in the community and for the kids, and we get to see each other more than most people, so I can't even say, I hope to see you in person next. We get to see each other quite a bit, so I'm so proud of you guys and what you're doing, and thank you for letting us again just be a part of the process. It's definitely an honor, and thank you guys for your service and for the service here in the community. I appreciate you guys so very much.
Thanks for having us, and we want to definitely thank all of our volunteers out there. If anybody's watching this, because we couldn't do it without the volunteers and the donations.
We're actually going through a process of getting all their names down, because I have this thing about I I don't want to forget anybody, and I know if I start throwing names out there,
Yeah.
I'm going to forget somebody, and then somebody's going to.
We've got 40 plus volunteers in our circle of people.
Amazing.
Once I have all my names down, that's when I'll go public and thank everybody, but I don't want to forget anybody and offend anybody. But also, you mentioned that Ashley's in love with us. Well, we're in love with Ashley too. Amazing.
My entire staff thinks you know, I tell people all the time, because when we first opened doors here, people were like, it's so hard to hire in Daytona Beach, and we've just have been so blessed to have the staff that we have. And Ashley just came on, and she's been amazing. And we're trying to get through this COVID-19 as a team, and for whatever reason we don't get to do that. We're hoping to bring everybody back on when this is all said and done. So
well, if you know anybody out there, or anybody knows anybody out there that needs anything, please reach out to us. I will never turn a child away. We'll keep delivering as long as food comes in. And it's almost like it's a challenge. When I say that, more food comes in. So I will continue to say that. So God will continue to open the storehouses. We don't have the storehouse. He has the storehouse.
Amen.
Daily, I look at the stuff and think, maybe we don't have enough. And he's like, watch this.
Yeah.
So,
boom.
If anybody needs anything, please reach out to us. Right now, we're serving Volusia County, the entire county. So reach out to us.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I'm sure we'll see each other tomorrow or Tuesday. So hang in there, try and get some rest, all right?
Thanks. Have a wonderful evening. God bless.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.